Okay, maybe we can start. So before starting, I would like to have one thing from your side. Okay, maybe you can put over the chat, or maybe you can unmute yourself and you can tell that mostly all of you are aware about F5. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Because the prerequisite of this course is only that you should be aware about F5, at least for the LTM module. Okay. So if you are aware about LTM module, then we will be checking out today like how the automation can be introduced for the F5 part using the free tools that is Python. Okay. So I hope you guys have heard about the language Python. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you for your response. Then, without wasting time, let me just give you some of the outline about the Python first, and then we will be checking that how using Python we can configure the F5. Okay, so I will bring up all the steps in gradually in this particular demo. Okay, so just wait for some time. Let me bring up my slide so that we can talk about the Python module. Okay, so when we are talking about Python, so why we are going for the Python? Anyone can have like wanted to highlight on this, like why we are just focusing on Python. Instead we have different programming language which is there already into the market. If no, let me tell you. Okay, first of all, Python is bringing up the very big or gaining its popularity, okay, in today's world. And then when we are talking about Python is general purpose language, okay, written by the Dutch scientist, Dutch programmer who is shown before the screen, Guido von Rossum. Okay, and we can say that this particular language is general purpose high level language. And what does it mean? So when we are saying general purpose language, it means that this particular language, Python, can be used anywhere, either into the gaming, either into the web development, either into the data science. And yes, for today's demo, we are just focusing on F5. So F5 provide you the control for the SDK. Okay, there is something known as SDK F5. So using this module, we will be importing our Python through iControl API. Okay. If you have not heard about it, don't worry. We will be talking about all of these terms in the demo in detail. Don't worry. Okay. So when we are saying general purpose, it means it can be used in multiple of the purposes. Then when we are saying high level means if we are talking about some kind of level of the like any of the language which is closing to the human or closing to the machine. So because you guys already working on F5, you are aware about I rules, right? So I rules is something which is written on the TCL language and it is in the mid of the scale. Okay, if you will talk about as closer to the human and as closer to the machine, so it is the mid of the scale. But when we are talking about Python is more closer toward the human. So you can say, if I am saying it that Python is bit like your plain English. Okay, plain English, I am not making any mistake in that. Reason behind, if you are aware about simple logic, very simple logic, then you can learn Python in maybe 10 days or 20 days maximum. Okay, so when we are saying it is a programming language, what does that mean? So programming language can be of two type. One which is using compiler, one which is using interpreter. Okay, so both of them are the moderator. So one is like compiling first and then executing the stuff. But in case of Python, it is pure interpreter kind of stuff. And what are that? Again, we will be discussing about that in today's demo. I will be showing you the practical also. Don't worry. Okay, it would not be the pure theoretical stuff. I will be showing you some of the demos. Okay, so I already told you that this is the Dutch programmer who invented the Python, and his name is Guido van Rossum. Okay, so that was the introduction of the Python. And now when we are saying Python, it means it is growing in the terms of developers because it is, free to use. Okay, so over the internet everyone is writing out some kind of program, and since there are so many of the programs and so many of the libraries are already for the use, we need not to do anything, or we need not to reinvent the wheel. We just need to import those modules. Okay, how to import those modules, I will be showing you. How to write down your own module, that also I would be showing you in this program. Okay, but for today's demo I would not be able to show you that how to write down the module, because for that you need to have some kind of basics. But yes, why this slide is important, because we should be aware that when we are using Python, it means we are having ready to available all of the codes over the internet. What we need to do, we need to just pick up that code, and as per our ease, like where we need to use, we should be aware about that. And for that I am here to help you out. Okay, and once you are aware about those modules and libraries, you just need to import that. You need to make the changes into the data structure, and that's it. You need not to bother about anything. Okay, so you can say that number of the giant, like the big giants, you can say the name Google or Yahoo also, these are using in the supporting language, not the full language. Okay, not the main language. But yes, there is one Reddit website which is totally written into the Python. And for your information, let me tell you, Reddit is a very American social news aggregation website. And it is one of the web content rating website and the discussion website. So it was maybe seventh most visited website in the US. So such kind of website, if written in the Python, it means it is so robust that you can use it anywhere in your environment. Okay, and if you see, gradually all of the companies, okay, because I am also a working professional, I am aware about it, and you are also the working professional guys, you should be aware about it, that gradually our all of the work is moving towards the automation. So if you are only the networking people, if you are only having the knowledge of the routing, switching, wireless, nexus maybe, or the F5, that is not suffice somewhere, because world is moving towards the language, maybe automation, you can say. Okay, everything is getting automated. So it is very much important for us as a F5 administrator or as a network administrator to learn some new languages. And when we are talking about language, then we just come to the back foot, right? Why? Because in BTech days also, why we didn't opt for the programming? Because we don't love that. And we love in these kind of stuff, like if we talk about the networking or F5. But again we are going towards the scripting world. But believe me, when we are talking about Python, Python is not tough like those languages. But yes, it is a scripting language which you can leverage in your environment for automating the task. How you can use that for the F5, because today in today's session I am just focusing on F5. If someone is here over the networking field, yes, we have the different stuff or different modules for different vendors. But today we will be talking about with respect to the F5 only, because we already populated for the F5 perspective. Okay, so that was the quick introduction about the F5, sorry, Python. Now let us go ahead and talk about maybe more. So I hope you guys have heard about SDN. Anyone?
Yes.
So
Software defined network.
yes, what is software defined network? Either we are talking about SDN, maybe in case of WAN, it would be SD-WAN, right? If
Yes.
in case of access layer, it would be SD access, right? In case of maybe you can say data center, it is ACI kind of stuff, right? So what is that? Somewhere we have segregated or decoupled the control plane to the data plane. We are aware about these very, these terms are already into the market and everyone is aware about these terms. But when we are segregating or decoupling the data plane and the control plane from each other, we are just introducing one more layer into the network. And that layer is what? That layer is application layer. Okay, or we can say the application plane here. So you can say there are three planes. One is data plane, second is control plane, third is application plane. So earlier, if you talk about any device, maybe if you are talking about some legacy router or maybe some legacy switch, so you are aware that only this single device will have its data plane, it's have its control plane. But somewhere world is moving towards the software defined networking, okay, or SDN you can say, and there you are just decoupling the stuff from each other. Now data plane, or these are, you can say, bit like the dummy devices, like your lightweight access point, maybe you can take the metaphor of that if you want, okay, the WLC and the lightweight APs, or if you guys are aware about that architecture, okay. So data plane and control plane somewhat is get segregated, and if this is segregated, application team, or maybe you can say application guys, have the opportunity to make the changes into the device using the control plane only. So what I mean to say, if you have maybe different vendors, okay, if you have the vendors like F5, you have Citrix, you have Barracuda, you have Cisco, you have Juniper, maybe you have different vendors in your environment, okay. Now if you wanted to make some kind of REST API, or maybe unified API, or maybe n kind of language you wanted to use on your device, then you need to be very much specific with respect to the device. First thing, you should be aware about it. But when we are talking about SDN, it means the control plane is decoupled from the data plane. It means if you are writing down anything over the control plane, this is your first phase and this is your second phase. Like your control plane is manipulating your device configuration using some kind of SNMP or maybe RESTconf or maybe NetConf kind of stuff. But in your first stuff, you are just creating a Python script that would be working on your Juniper device, maybe on your Cisco device, maybe on your HP device or Dell device, whatever. Okay. So that kind of stuff is getting introduced when you are having the SDN. You should be, having the knowledge of and some kind of, scripting. And why not to go with the Python, because it is the easiest one again, okay, and free of use. So only you need to learn it. If you are having, some great learning about it, if you have the knowledge about it, then you can use it anywhere. Okay. Okay, let's proceed further and see. Now again, I am telling multiple time that it is much easy. If you don't have any kind of programming language before, it's all right, it's perfectly fine. We are here to help you. Just start from the scratch or from the level 0. Okay, we will be telling you about the Python, that what is the Python fundamental, what is the syntax, what are the concept, why we required such kind of stuff, and what kind of stuff. No special training required after that. Okay, so if you don't aware about the Python, do not worry. Okay, leave it to us. That is good for us, because if you have some knowledge, maybe you will be, doing your stuff. And maybe if you are just mixing out two stuff, it can be lead to some kind of errors or bugs into your programs. Then we will be talking about that when we are talking about Python has some versions, like it has earlier 1.0 version, then it moved to 2.0 version, then the 3.0 means the sub versions can be different. Okay, it depends upon the build, whatever the coming in the market. But currently we are on the version 3, and when I am saying that we are learning the newest version, it means we will be learning on version 3. And for your information, guys, let me tell you, these versions are not interoperable between each other. Okay, the syntax and all of the stuff is not interoperable between each other. If you are maybe creating a script on the Python version 2 and the Python version 3, you cannot run that, or there are different syntax you need to learn about. Okay, so we will be focusing on version 3, because the rest of the two may be getting legacy and it will be get out of the market soon. Okay, then it is open source. Okay, open source means free to use. As I told you from the beginning of this webinar, that yes, when you are learning Python, there are a couple of libraries, couple of modules already written by someone. What we need to do, we need to leverage those programs as per our requirement, as per our production environment, and just we need to tweak out some kind of configuration, and we can able to achieve the task, whatever task you want to achieve. Okay, or whatever project you are having into your hand. Okay, then it is platform independent. What does that mean? It means, like, if you have one of the device, okay, maybe if you talk about the TCL is a very small language which is embedded into your FI device, right? And that is the reason why you are able to write down the program into the TCL, right? Similarly, when you are talking about Python, Python need not to be acquired any storage on your device. Either it is your whatever vendor's device, okay? So you need not to put, or you need not to install Python on your device. Okay, what we will be gonna do, I will be showing you the practical, guys. Don't worry, huh? Be here. I will be gonna show you the practical also. So let us say this is your device where your Python script is residing, and this is your one of the device. Maybe let us say it is F5, and let us talk about like it is MPLS or internet or whatever connectivity you are having, SD-WAN or whatever. You should be having the reachability. That is the only requirement. Now, if you have the reachability and if your firewall is not blocking the Python script to run on your device, then you can create the script over here, and you can push the configuration from this PC to the FI device. Doesn't matter where it is, physically hosted, maybe in one country, maybe in another country, or wherever. We don't care about that. Then Python can be run on the Windows, okay, and on the Linux machine as well, right? So actually when you are writing down the script, it's hardly matter, because the script, you need to be aware about the script. That's it. Okay, the same script will be working on the Windows, the same script will be working on the Linux also. Okay, the same script, you need not to make any kind of tweaking, you need not to make any kind of changes. Okay, so to remove the repetitive task or the boring task, you can learn Python, guys, and it is free to use, and you can make some kind of automation. You can introduce the automation into your environment. Okay, let us talk about maybe one or two more slides, then we will be just giving up from these particular slides or the PPT, and I will be jumping on the practical work. Okay, now what the Cisco is saying, if you will go to these kind of blogs, you will be able to understand that how Cisco is promoting Python, how Cisco into each of their certification are putting the automation task, the virtualization task. Okay, you can see that. Okay, if you are from the Cisco world, maybe you are aware about. Maybe if you are not Cisco, you are from the Cisco, if you are not from the Cisco maybe, or and you are from the F5, you can just go to the internet and you can check about the F5, like how they are promoting the F5 stuff for the SDK, maybe for the iControl, for that is the REST API by the way. Okay, the REST API name over the F5 is known as iControl. Okay, when I am saying iControl, it means we are controlling the device through the REST API. Now